You are listening to the Earplug Podcast Network, a Fanboys Inc. production.
If you're passionate for what you love and you're serious about it, when you see our cameras at the show, then we want to talk about it. Fair weather fans need not apply. We seek nerds that are true.
All right, welcome back to the Angrygeeks show. We're here at Milford, Connecticut's alternate universe holiday party extraordinaire jamboree. All the people in the background are going crazy. Shut up, people.
Anyway, now let's talk speculations.
All right, specs.
You're cleaning up here at the sale. I got some stuff behind the counter that I can't talk about, but
Yes.
Jack Kirby stuff.
Jack Kirby.
You got some new gods. You got some forever people. Yes. What do you There's a lot of speculations
I'm
about
not speculating. This is actually from my own collection. This
really?
Like,
okay.
We've all loved.
No, is
Jack
it because?
Kirby.
No,
this is because I finished off Batman 150 to 713. So I needed something new to collect.
Now, what's sticking out to me, not just the new gods. I mean,
because it's turned corner-wise.
Well, no, what the new gods itself, Orion. There was a lot of name dropping of the new gods into Justice League, which we're going to talk. Yes, we're going to talk about the Justice League movie. Finally, we're going to break our silence on the film.
Breaking the silence.
When we have Erik and Ian on later.
They took that gag order off.
Yes, what's sticking out to me is this issue of the Forever People.
Yes.
Dead Man.
Yes.
How do you feel about the new Dead Man comic?
I'm sorry, I will not give it a try, and I'm going to be honest. I love Neil Adams from the 60s and 70s and even 80s. Mm-hmm. After Batman Odyssey, I fell
a confusing story. We talked about it many times. Yes.
Volumes 1 through 6. Confusing as all heck. Like the writing was all over the place.
The horse head really threw me off.
Everything was weird.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Once I dropped, what was that? 6 times 2. That's 12 times 4. That's $48.
Carry to zero minus
plus
the 2.
Tax, and then you got to go into inflation. But anyways, that's about $50 of my money that I spent on something that I didn't like.
So you're not even going to try? So are you trying to say?
I might pull off from the shelf on Monday and go. But I thought the number one glow in the dark. I love the 90s. Yep. I'm a big fan of all these weird colors. They pop. I know speculation went crazy, ruined the whole comics game. Whatever, big deal. I think they look cool. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. But other than that, I mean, I did take a picture with it in the dark.
Yeah,
so
I seen it.
Instagram. I was like, look at me in the dark. But I had a shirt on for that one.
I know you did. So, the new comic book ratings that we have on the Angry Geek Show website.
Yes.
Is my ratings are Angry Geek Shields. Your ratings are
my
items.
Clothes are falling off.
Your clothes are falling off. So you're trying to tell me that the new Dead Man is how I feel about Ragman. I'm not digging it, man. I can't
Ragman.
I can't read it.
I like the new Ragman.
I mean, I feel like calling Pat Broderick and saying, dude, fix this.
On the reasons why we're not liking it. See, you're not liking the art of the new Ragman.
I don't like the look.
Liking the writing of the new.
I get the change. Again, we talked about this before, but I totally get it. They try to take Ragman and make him look like he did while he was on Arrow. But to me, I accepted it on Arrow. But I cannot accept it on a printed form. It's not Ragman. I'm not digging.
It says so on the book. It says Ragman.
No, it's I can't read.
I like it. I think it's cool, and I like the story. He's ex-military. Him and his friends. Some mission went horribly wrong. We don't have the full story there yet. They're all in the background. That's a little bit weird to me because I'm wondering like. Is there going to be some kind of closure by the end of the series? If they're going to be able to, are they still like just going to be in his head, or are they going to be gone altogether? Because that's kind of a crappy life.
It reminds me, and I said this before, of Herman's Head, that old Fox show where all these people are living.
But they weren't actual people. They were his consciousness.
But I don't know. I'm just not digging it.
These are actual people that are now in his head, and I'm just like, that's not a great existence. Like, yeah, I'm sort of still here, and I can see what's going on, but I'm stuck. I can't go over and be like, I want to put on this Green Lantern jacket.
I'm going to take... No. Stop it.
We could both fit in there.
No, we can't, actually. I'm going to take it off as it's getting pretty hot in here.
2 guys in a Green Lantern coat.
So let's talk about the Forever People. What do you think?
Tell you the truth, I only have issue 1 so far. These stories, Jack Kirby's art and storytelling was amazing back in the day. I've always loved his art from Thor, Avengers.
Well, why not OMAC?
OMAC was good too.
Okay.
Demon. Demon will be next after Forever People and New Gods. I've already got a few issues because I'm good at finding deals.
Yeah, I know you are.
And then Creeper and I don't know, it's good stuff.
Well, Steve Ditko was Creeper.
On Creeper, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about the time.
Oh, you're just talking about the time.
The 60s and 70s were great storytelling. Comics were cheap. They were kids' books. But they were, at that time, too, Neil Adams was coming in.
Well, he was darkening things up.
Exactly. Stories became less 66 Batman.
Well, that's my point. Let's talk Neil Adams, where you were talking about Batman Odyssey. Neil took Batman from Adam West and said, this is not Batman. This is not what he's supposed to be, and brought him back to his roots, brought him back to his origins.
Definitely issues of Batman where it was 66 Batman. Infantino and all them. They did all this weird, all of a sudden Batman's got a rainbow costume on, and you're just like, what is this?
Neil Adams had nothing to do with that.
A T-Rex in the Batcave, what?
Well, that's because it was a trophy. I believe it was the Riddler with the T-Rex.
Did he?
I think it was the Riddler. We'll have to find out.
Actually... Okay, go on with this because
keep going.
Somebody told a story today on Facebook, and it was amazing. There's this guy, Barry Dutter. He actually worked in Cutter's comics. The Dutter from Marvel is a character that was created because this guy used to complain so much about She-Hulk. He hates her. He's like, this is a stupid character, and he used to write into Marvel all the time. So they made a character, Dutter, that got killed off in the one issue that he's in right away by She-Hulk, and he's also worked in comics.
I have to say, John Byrne's run on the She-Hulk was amazing.
Well, anyways, Dutta he now buys out collections like I kind of do, and sells them, does auctions on Facebook and stuff like that. Well, he was writing about this guy that he buys from constantly that has just tons and tons of books, and the guy is the classic comic collector. He lives alone, can barely pay his bills. He's a janitor, sad man. He's got some kind of skin thing going on, just a sad man, but comics, and he's now having to sell his comics because he can't afford, to make do.
Okay.
It's kind of a sad story, but he goes into this story about, he goes to this guy's storage unit, and they go through boxes, and the guy's going through boxes, and the meme where Batman is slapping Robin?
Yes.
Well, that came out of a comic from World's Finest. I forget what issue number. The guy owns it. And they're going through comics, and they get to that comic, and they get to that panel, and this sad man lights up like a 5-year-old kid. And he was just like, it made, even though I feel bad, the joy is still there from it. The guy is still getting, and it's just amazing. It made me feel good. I don't know why I told you.
Well, it's the holiday season. You got it. We have to.
Season to be jolly,
but speaking of memes, I want to give a quick shout out to
Barry Dutter.
No. To Two Guys One Review for that awesome meme that they tweeted of me.
Yes, you and Superman have the same jawline.
That was an awesome meme, guys. I appreciate that. No apologies needed. That was Angrygeeks approved. Let's take a quick break, and maybe we'll come back with Ian if he's not too busy drawing. We're back, and we had this awesome conversation off camera about relationships, superhero relationships. Ian, what's your argument on this with Eric?
It's not really an argument. I think we're talking different aspects of the same thing. I just don't think that you can look at interpersonal relationships as a negative towards storytelling. It has to be a part of the drama, the way it unfolds. It has to be a part of that. Now, using cliches like always putting a significant other in danger, that's just lazy writing, and it just gets over and over doing the same thing. Like, I think we were agreeing on that. Yeah.
To me, I just, like I said, what we were talking before, was I just saw a relationship being like a form of a weakness that could be exploited. I wasn't against a relationship, really. It came out wrong, but to me, I just think it's a weakness, because if no one
hates love.
Yeah. To me, no one, if I was driving off to go fight crime, knowing that the bad guys can go right back to my house and do something, to my significant other, it's
I have
actually
an argument about that too.
That's what annoys me about a lot of these shows. Nobody has a secret identity. Everybody, like as soon as a new hero walks through the door, they're like, that's that rich guy from down the street. It's like everybody. I'm just like
even on Flash, they fight all these villains and all these bad guys and everything like that, but they're all living in the same housed area. People know where it's like. They should be going there knocking on the door. That's like Aunt May. How many people know, like, okay, Aunt May lives in that little house? Are you home? Yeah. It's like.
Well, how do you feel?
Archer comes to the Arrow
house.
She had a
relationship with Doc Ock. That's where I want to get to, though. Is like DC Universe, DC Cinematics, and Marvel Cinematics. They do the interpersonal relationships completely differently. It's like the shows like Wally left because Jessie broke up with him through her dad. Like all these.
That brought me to a Twilight moment.
I don't want to talk about it. I cosplay Jessie. I don't want to talk about it. But then you look at like Marvel, like in Captain America. No one really in the later Avengers movies used the fact that Peggy was still alive up until whenever against Steve.
Well, she was also
Sharon against Steve.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like there's two different.
Well, she's also Peggy is also an ex-government agent, so of course she's being protected.
But still, like no one.
But then again, half of Shield, when they got corrupted, knew where she was anyway. So
exactly. So they do. It's the way they choose to play their cards, and it shows the differences in the writing styles between the companies, and that's kind of.
All right, we're gonna get off topic for one quick second. How do you guys feel of? No. How do you feel how the Thinker looks?
The Thinker. Who's the Thinker?
I didn't see it yet.
DeVoe in the Flash. That's the Thinker.
Oh!
I thought he went. The first time I saw him, I was like, Metron. Because to me, he looks like Metron at first.
I like that they're using somebody different. Finally.
Okay.
I'm like, a new villain.
Oh, okay. I'll tweet you a picture. Okay.
Yeah, at the beginning of the season, they ball him out.
All right, now getting back to the love thing.
Love.
Again, going back to our previous discussion, Superman in the movies flying off. Was it because of Lois or because it was a civilian in danger? But I brought it up before we took a break. In the second to last issue of Superman in the comics, Deathstroke was going to shoot Lois, and Superman was there in a blink of an eye. In the Christopher Reeve films, first one, he had to make that choice: stop the missiles or save Lois.
See, if he didn't go back in reverse time, right? What would have people have actually thought about him as a hero if he didn't reverse time? If like he picked the missiles over her, what would have people probably thought then?
He saved them more.
But I think you got your timing wrong, because he stops the missiles, and then you see him flash to hearing Lois as the car's getting buried.
Correct, because it was not a missile that caused it was the earthquake. And she was suffocated to death because the car fell into the crevice and
that's
all
true.
of the
It wasn't an actual choice.
It wasn't an actual
he heard
choice.
her as she was dying, and didn't get there in time. So I don't think he stopped doing anything.
Now, welcome to the geek world again. In reality, he would have been there quick enough to save her.
But that also goes back to the whole one of the greatest Batman jokes of all time is the "Where's Rachel?" from the Dark Knight trilogy. So that's another one of those things where it's like.
He chose wrong. He thought he was going after Rachel in The Dark Knight Returns. And he was, he ended up with Harvey. What is your thoughts on that?
On the Dark Knight trilogy stuff?
Well, again, saving, going after the one that you love, or the need of the many outweigh the way. Yes, go back there. Again, that is, whether you like it or not, that's love.
Dang it, Barry, you messed up the timeline.
Very good. But that was a love of two brothers, two best friends. Yeah. What Kirk had to do, what he had to do. He had to save the ship and save the crew, and not Spock.
Well, and he didn't make a decision to do that. Spock made the decision himself.
Correct. That's Keith off camera.
I gotta sit here and lawyer like that.
but you're answering the questions. That was the debate of the topic. What would a hero do? And
make the sacrifice.
It depends on the character, because I think the way Batman would approach it is totally different than how Superman would approach it.
With or without prep time.
Batman.
He always has prep time. He's planned for everything.
Every contingency plan. Yes, he has. So continue.
Just that Superman has to save them both because he's Superman. There's no way around it. If you're going to stay true to what is the core fundamental character that I recognize, he saves both. Batman makes a decision.
The vigilante, so he doesn't really need a.
He makes a decision.
See, but that's why I always say, how do you judge them if they didn't make that choice? And what if Superman would have turned around and saved Lois, and that, say, the missile hit and destroyed United? Well, should we be mad at him because he was going after the person that he loved?
No matter who he failed, people would be mad.
Yeah.
But
that's why. Well, excuse me one second, Keith, off camera. That is why we have Man of Steel and that debate. Because this is exactly what the Man of Steel was about. People were mad. Okay, he destroyed half the city battling Zod and the other Kryptonians. Okay, fine. Was he supposed to battle Zod, battle the other Kryptonians, get them out of the city, or let the people in the city die? That's the whole debate.
If he didn't even battle them in the city, they would have turned around and destroyed the city.
Correct. So
it would have destroyed the Earth.
Yeah.
Superman would have brought him out of the city.
He was trying to. Let's get back to the same thing again. Wait a minute. They would have destroyed Earth. So let's do this again. You had Ma Kent. Superman, Cal, grabbed Zod and was beating the crap out of him, flying through.
Kent losing the farm and that BS. They already have that thing's owned.
And look, she was used to exploit
She was used. Yes.
And they went there to go.
You have no right. You think you could threaten my mother? He was pounding the crap out of him. So again, he was exploiting the weakness, and that is also why Zod had Fiora point at Lois Lane. And he goes, "The general wants that one," because they knew.
But think about it now. All right, you know who that is now. You know that's Ma Kent and everything like that. Everybody in the world knows who Ma Kent is now. So if you're going to see them together and interact, she's always going to be an Achilles heel now.
Correct.
She should actually be living at a military installation underground because everyone's going to keep coming after her.
Going back to how Marvel and DC do things differently.
Correct. Great.
No, go.
No. Go ahead. No, keep going.
I was say, like with Mary Jane. As soon as you knew Spider-Man and Peter Parker and Mary Jane were together, she could never live a regular life in an apartment and everything like that. She would constantly be under attack by anybody. You'd have Dr. Octopus, Mysterio. Everybody would be going,
Which I actually.
How you doing, honey? Guess what? It's this week.
Yeah. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Hey, and we're back. Jeremy's taking a quick break, and we're here with Keith Murray, aka Captain America, Erik Yacko, and Ian Chase Nichols. But he's going to be drawing and not really part of the conversation as we talk. Oh, and Bree, I forgot Bree Zerker. We're going to talk the DC Comics annual crossover on the CW. I loved it. Now, I wake up at 4:30 every morning to get to work. I stayed up and watched that. Because usually I wait and watch it the next day on demand. I had to stay up. I had to watch it. I dug it. I thought it was great. I do have some problems with it, like where are certain characters. But Erik, why don't you bring us in? What did you think?
One, I always love that look with the bad Supergirl, and it looks Nazi-esque and everything like that. But I thought all militant. I liked all the build up for it. It was real good. Like I said, where are the missing people? That's what I want to know. Like, where's Martian Manhunter and where's the military and what's going on? So I had to just push that to the side, but it was good.
Well, my problem was, all right, why wasn't Jay Garrick invited to the wedding? Well, I was like, oh, come on. And during the whole invasion, too, where was Wally?
Yeah.
He should have been there. Yeah, and of course, John, they could have went back to the Earth and got...
Like I said, if you're going to do a crossover, you got to show
everybody.
And they didn't show everybody.
And it was kind of funny how half the legends had to stay on the Wave Rider.
Yeah.
Because they weren't invited to the wedding. Yeah. No, Keith, what were your thoughts?
I was geeking out. There were a whole bunch of times where I was sitting there, I was like, oh, that's awesome! And there are a lot of really good moments like that and callbacks to the other shows. And I thought last year's crossover, it had its moments. Like the first episode was really good. The last episode was really good. The Green Arrow episode was the weakest of the bunch because it's like let's put everybody in a coma and mess with their heads kind of thing. So I thought that was weak. This one, from like beginning to end, just killed it. The action, they had those really long action sequences where the camera just pans over everything. They did that again and again, and they killed it.
Well, did you notice that they played, well, spoiler alert for those who didn't see it, Ian, please cover your ears. When they had Tommy Oliver on the screen, when they had him as Prometheus, they played the same music that they had as when Tommy died. Not many people know that.
I didn't catch that.
But yeah, you're in the geek zone. They're in the geek zone. They had that. I thought the crossover was just, it was brilliant. It was great. Again, where was John? Where was Wally? Why wasn't all the legends? Because everybody knows who they are. Why weren't they all there? Heartbreaking when Stein...
So that bothered me because I was going to start Legends, and I was only going to start Legends because of his characters, those two characters. But now, like...
The replacement character, you need to start watching it. The replacement character is who I thought was robbed 2 years ago on television.
Constantine.
I didn't want to wreck it for anybody, Jeremy, off camera.
That's good to know, though, because I know someone who's a huge Constantine fan.
I like that show.
Yeah.
He's
but now what do they do with it from this point on? That's going to be the key thing. So
well, last week's Legends, the way they ended it again for mid-season finale, it was brilliant. I mean, it was a classic comic book cliffhanger where. In this issue, John Constantine, and he doesn't show up to the very last panel on the very last page, has 3 words, and there's like, I gotta wait 2 months for the book to come out. It's
I think if they would have had his show from the beginning, like be on like after one of these shows instead of putting it
would
on
still
Friday
be on
night at 9:00, it's a bad time slot.
Well, not just. I think that's why Arrow's ratings are slipping because it's on Thursday nights at 9:00. It's a bad.
But I'm also noticing though his story. Yeah, it's drawn out the story. I think he's more interesting when he's interacting with everybody. He was great in the crossover event because there was interaction going on. They didn't need the whole wedding element really thrown in there because.
Well, that's my other problem.
That's what they used to
Why did they get married?
I mean,
yeah.
Why? I mean, that
your
threw
friend's
me off.
getting married right now. You don't need to force it on
cute,
them.
And it was timing, and everyone loves the gooey and ships them. So
no,
I am. She turns him down, and you're supposed to be like, "Oh, I feel sorry for him now."
But then they end up getting married, and to me, that's not Oliver Queen. That's not the Green Arrow. He should be with Black Canary.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank
that.
you. Yes. As a Black Canary fan.
There you go. That's
and also speaking of Black Canary, the best subplot of the crossover was the Sarah Alex hookup.
Yeah.
I laughed more at the little bits that the two of them did together. They were the two actors were brilliant in their roles doing that.
How's your head?
More great little gags out of that than any other part of the crossover.
Well, it's funny now. With last week, the mid-season finale of Legends, I watched this with my kid, and I was like, Sarah's going to hook up with the agent because you could see it coming. And I just hope they're not going to beat a dead horse with these jokes with Sarah Lance's character. I don't want that to happen. In my opinion, out of all of the CW shows, Legends is the best. I thoroughly enjoy it because, like Ian was saying before, it's like the Marvel 2-in-1. It's like Marvel
You're getting more characters. You're getting more stuff. It's where instead of being based on just single characters.
Exactly. But going back to the crossover with Stein's death, and then bringing it back up last week.
That was the only time that I cried during that crossover. I know people that cried in each episode, like at separate points. The only time I cried was when Jefferson went back to the house.
Oh,
I literally thought he was just going to go like this. He's going to be like, I can't let you go. And he's going to do that one final merge with them, and then he was going to stay in him. And they didn't do it.
Well, didn't think they were going to do that because they were establishing that Jax was actually getting sick as well, and he was dying because he they were like, you can't do this because he was spitting up blood. He was, also sick, and then they had to lie to the poor kid and say, no, he's not doing well. He's gonna die. It was heartbreaking. Keith, what are your thoughts? I mean, was it heartbreaking for you?
It was a tough scene. Part of the problem we had this conversation that I've had with all of these shows is that they've gotten like everybody's too angsty. We grew up with George Reeves Superman and Adam West Batman and Clayton Moore Lone Ranger. So I stopped watching them this season, like all three of them. I watched the first episode of the season for each one, and I'm like, I can't. They're all just angsty. Oliver's got a kid now that won't talk to him, and Barry's still trying to figure things out with Iris, and Supergirl's whining over Mon-El, and it's like, this is just the same angsty crap we keep seeing season after season, but the crossover looks so good that I'm like, all right, Jeremy's he's having a spasm over there.
I don't like these shows. Legends of Tomorrow is good because you don't have this love thing.
You don't have a relationship built into it.
Well, this is why I was just worried about Sarah. I'm like, oh, come on.
In the background, it wasn't like a constant plot. Like, it's really sad. Like,
to me, a relationship creates a weakness in a character because you're always wondering, oh my God, is she safe or is he safe or where are they? And you can never go forward with the story because it's like having Aunt May, and it's like, I got to worry where she is all the time. It's like,
that would bring us back to Superman again, and Man of Steel, and Justice League, and Batman vs Superman, with Superman saving. Okay, now I think it was Ian or Jeremy brought it up where, Superman, the crowd is in, there's civilians in danger. I'll be right back. No, Flash got it, but Superman still flies off. But we talked about in Man of Steel and in Batman Superman, he left to save Lois.
Yeah.
Same thing. He's in a relationship. He's going to care about Lois.
It's an Achilles heel when,
And they just established that 2 issues ago in Superman. When Deathstroke was going to shoot Lois.
The new storyline for Batman. They're doing Super Friends, him and Batman. Superman and Batman.
We're going to take a break so Nimue can go back on camera. We'll be right back. Holiday here at Alternate Universe
in Milford, Connecticut,
is in
Erik
the
Yacko shop.
Yeah, I want to thank Erik for having us here, and Pam.
Thanks, Erik.
I want to thank Ian for being on the show. Thanks, Bree, for being on the show and checking out the camera.
And not being too cheesy.
And thank you, Keith Murray.
I do these all on
one of the official attorneys for the Angry Geek Show to keep you out of jail. Do you have anything to add?
Oh, yeah.
Until next week, see ya.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation, found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.